great honor. Great honor. Thank you.
This is the Ed Boston Podcast Network and the edboston.com.
On a Saturday morning yet. Isn't that nice? Thank you all. And we're going to have an incredible convention. It's really going well. We're going to have an incredible convention. And we're going to get things solved, and we're going to do lots of wonderful things for our country, most importantly. So I'm here today to introduce the man who will be my partner in this campaign and the White House to fix our rigged system. We are in a rigged system. And to make America safe again, and to make America great again. I want to also address the Islamic terror attack in France. We've witnessed horror beyond belief, no matter where you look. And now it's happening more and more. And it's never going to stop. We need new leadership. We need new thinking. We need strength. We need in our country law and order. And if I'm elected president, that will happen. I want to express our unyielding support for the people of France, and we mourn their loss as a nation. And as far as Turkey is concerned, so many friends in Turkey, great people, amazing people. We wish them well. It looks like they're resolving the difficulty, but we wish them well. A lot of anguish last night, but hopefully it'll all work out. Now, as hopefully the next president of the United States, I want to refer back to what's happened over the years. The Middle East today is more unstable than ever before. Never been like this, out of control. After 4 years of Clinton, who really led the way, and led Obama down a horrible path, because I don't even think he could have made these decisions so badly. She led him right down a horrible path. He didn't know what he was doing. Over the years, the Middle East today is more unstable than ever before. Never been like this, out of control. After 4 years of Clinton, who really led the way, and led Obama down a horrible path, because I don't even think he could have made these decisions so badly. She led him right down a horrible path. He didn't know what he was doing. Iraq, Syria, all into chaos. And Iran is on a path to nuclear weapons. And on top of that, we gave them back $150 billion, and we didn't get our hostages until the end. Now we're seeing unrest in Turkey, a further demonstration of the failures of Obama-Clinton. You just have to look. Every single thing they touched has turned to horrible, horrible, death-defying problems. We also need to bring back, in this country, because we see what happened, our industry, our manufacturing, our jobs. They've been taken away like we're babies, taken away. And we're going to bring them back. I found the leader who will help us deliver a safe society and a prosperous, really prosperous society for all Americans. Indiana Governor Mike Pence was my first choice. I've admired the work he's done, especially in the state of Indiana. And I'm going to go over some of those accomplishments in just a minute. But I also admire the fact that he fights for the people, and he's going to fight for you. He is a solid, solid person. Governor Pence served Indiana with distinction in Congress. He rose to leadership and served as the chairman of the entire House Republican Conference. Number one. He's really got the skills of a highly talented executive, leading the state of Indiana to jobs, growth, and opportunity, in spite of the relentless obstacles put in his way and every state's way by the Obama administration. It's horrible out there. High taxes and regulations, and it's out of control. Mike Pence is a man of honor, character, and honesty. We know that. Hillary Clinton is the embodiment of corruption. She's a corrupt person. What she's done with her emails, what she's done with so many things, and I see the ads up all the time, the ads. She's totally bought.
As we refresh a little bit here, Mike Pence will be introduced here shortly by Donald Trump. This is a network problem.
And paid for by Wall Street, the special interests, the lobbyists, 100%. She's crooked Hillary.
I apologize for the difficulties. It is possible that this isn't a network problem, that it is a localized internet problem. Back to Donald Trump.
And I think that while she got away with murder, in fact, I think it might be her greatest accomplishment, escaping the recent scandal and her lies and the loss of 33,000 emails. But it wasn't a loss. She discarded. That in itself is a major crime. Other people have been paying tremendous prices for what they've done, which is peanuts compared to what happened with Hillary Clinton. 33,000 emails are missing, and that's okay. Didn't give them to the FBI, didn't give them to the Attorney General, and that's okay. Wipes her server clean, that's okay. These are crimes. These are crimes. And how she got away with it, I think I understand it, but I think a lot of people don't. But I do believe, while she didn't pay the price she should have paid, she's going to pay that price when November 8th rolls around. She's going to pay it at the polls. I believe that.
I agree.
On top of everything else, Hillary made $21.6 million giving speeches to special interests in a short period of time. She's totally owned by Wall Street. We believe in Americanism. She believes in globalism. And it's not that she believes in it. The people that give her all of this money believe in it. And she'll believe in whatever they want her to believe. Believe me, that's it. What a difference between crooked Hillary Clinton and Mike Pence. Mike Pence will never be afraid to speak the name of our enemy. Radical Islam, radical Islamic terrorism. You saw it the other day with the truck screaming out the window. You heard what he was screaming out the window. You saw it in San Bernardino. You saw it at the World Trade Center. You saw it in Orlando. How horrible was that? You saw it in Paris. You see it all over. And Hillary is a weak person. We are the law and order candidates. And with the law and order party, we're going to change things around. There's going to be respect again for law and order.
Hear, hear.
Hillary Clinton's foreign policy helped launch ISIS. You know, she's talking. I see the ad she puts on. If I make one statement, which is fine, she'll take that statement and put on a totally dishonest ad because she's got a lot of money. Because it's given to her by the lobbyists and by the special interests. She's got a lot of money. But I see the ads on foreign policy. She's talking about Donald Trump doesn't have foreign policy experience. Of course not. I've been a very, very, very successful business person. I mean, but But if you look at my calls, I said, don't go into Iraq. Nobody cared because I was a business person. I was a civilian. Take the oil. Many, many calls I've made. You take a look. I said that in Scotland and in the UK, that was going to happen. I was the one that predicted it. And everybody said, he's wrong, he's wrong. President Obama said if it happens, they're going to get to the back of the line, which probably is one of the reasons they lost. Of course, I consider it a win. I think it was a win for them, actually, because they don't want to be told what to do. And they don't want to be told that when people pour into the country, they have to take them even if they're not qualified, even if they don't have paperwork, even if they have no idea where they come from. And I said that Brexit's going to happen. I said that they are going to break away. And everybody laughed at me. And the odds were 20%. And then when it happened, she took an ad saying, oh, Donald Trump said this or that. But I'm the one that said it was going to happen. And some of the more fair reporters, about 30% of them, said he was right. I appreciate that. 70% didn't, so that's okay. So Mike Pence will never be afraid to speak the name of our enemy. So important. Now, I think if you look at one of the big reasons that I chose Mike, and one of the reasons is party unity, I have to be honest. So many people have said party unity because I'm an outsider. I want to be an outsider. I think it's one of the reasons I won in landslides. I won in landslides. This wasn't close. This wasn't close. No, this wasn't close. This was in the history of the Republican Party. History. With 17 people running. You have to understand. Other people ran against 1, 2, and 3. With 17, we got, I say we because I'm the messenger. I'm a messenger. I'm doing a good job, but I'm a messenger. We got almost 14 million votes. That's more than any other person in the history of the Republican Party in the primary system running for president. And think of it. That's more than Ronald Reagan, who we love. That's more than Richard Nixon. It's more than Dwight D. Eisenhower. You know, he won the Second World War in all fairness. It's pretty good. It's more than the Bushes. But I mean by a lot. I don't mean by little. But that's with 17 people. People don't oversay that. That means our message is unbelievable. And I want to thank all of the loyal people, because I have such loyal, unbelievable people, and they displayed that just yesterday in Cleveland, where it's going to be so amazing. But they displayed it. It was on display, where we had this group of people, who many of whom I've known, and I won't say, because for party unity, I'll say they're wonderful people, okay? Never Trump, they said. Never Trump, never Trump. Oh, we're going to win. They got crushed, and they got crushed immediately, because people want what we're saying to happen. They're tired of a country that has horrible trade deals, that has no borders, that has taxes that are through the roof, highest taxed nation just about in the world, that has regulations that don't allow you to start a business and destroy your business if you do start. And by the way, speaking of destroying businesses, we're going to take care of the miners, and we're going to take care of the steel workers. We're going to put them back to work. So they're very tired of it. But I want to thank all of those people, that delegates that were on the different committees, because boy, was that something. Did we show them something? And unfortunately, the vote was very late. But essentially, we had 112 to 12. This was the vote that was going to put it onto the floor, and we're going to have a big fight. We're not going to have a fight. People agree with what they want the wall. They want the borders. They want these things to happen. And what we're doing, that I'm so proud of, and nobody else would even think about doing it. I fought very hard for it. We'll call it the Johnson Amendment, where he took away from the evangelicals. And I want to thank the evangelicals, because without the evangelicals, I could not have won this nomination. The evangelicals have been unbelievable. I dominated with the evangelicals. A lot of people were surprised. They say, he's not perfect. But you know what? They know I'm going to get the job done, and they're really smart. And I said, And I said for the evangelicals that we're going to do something that nobody's even tried to do. You have the Johnson Amendment passed by Lyndon Johnson and his group. And he was a powerful president. He knew how to get things done. He got bogged down in a war that was a disaster and it destroyed him. But he was a powerful president. And we call it the Johnson Amendment, where you are just absolutely shunned if you're evangelical, if you want to talk religion. You lose your tax-exempt status. We put into the platform, we're going to get rid of that horrible Johnson Amendment. And we're going to let evangelicals, we're going to let Christians and Jews and people of religion talk without being afraid to talk. I saw this. I had so many great leaders, so many times up to my office. The absolute top evangelical leaders, Christian leaders, Jewish leaders. Believe it or not, some Muslim leaders. People are going to be surprised to hear that. I had the top leaders up to my office. And I said, why is it that you're so powerful as an individual, and yet when you get out there, you're sort of timid? And they didn't know how to answer the question. And it took 2-3 meetings before I figured it out. One great gentleman that everybody knows, but whose name I will not reveal, said, Mr. Trump, we live in fear in our churches and our synagogues. We live in fear that we're going to lose our tax-exempt status if we say anything that's even slightly political. And I looked out the window. I was in Trump Tower, and I pointed to people walking down the street. I said, well, they have the right to speak, but you don't. That means they're more powerful than you are. We have to do something about it. How did it start? How did it start? And they said it started because of Lyndon Johnson, and he actually had a problem in Texas with a certain religious leader, and he did this, and he got it done. And we're going to undo it so that religious leaders in this country and those unbelievable people, and not because they backed me in such large numbers, but so that religion can again have a voice, because religion's voice has been taken away, and we're going to change that, okay? All right. Back to Mike Pence. So, one of the primary reasons I chose Mike was I looked at Indiana, and I won Indiana big. Remember, Indiana was going to be the firewall. That's where Trump was going down. They agreed I'd win New York, I'd win Pennsylvania, I'd win all these places. But Indiana was going to be the firewall. So I got to study Indiana. And I got to study New York and a lot of other places, and I saw how NAFTA, signed by Bill Clinton, has drained our manufacturing jobs. Just drained us like we've never been drained before. NAFTA, again, signed by Bill Clinton. NAFTA is the worst economic deal in the history of our country. Manufacturing down in some states 55, 60%. It's a horror show. Moving to Mexico, moving to other places. I have a friend who's a great builder. What he builds is plants. That's all he does, is build plants. He doesn't build buildings, he builds plants. It's the biggest in the world, from what I hear. I said, how's business? I was with him the other day. How's business? He goes, unbelievable. I said, really? Wow, I'm surprised. Why is it unbelievable? Because I think of him as building in this country. He said, Donald, what we're doing in Mexico, you won't believe. I said, what do you mean? He said, we're building plants in Mexico, the likes of which we've never seen. I said, what about this country? Not much. Not much. That's the expression. He said exactly that. Not much. I said, but Mexico? He said, you've never seen anything like it. It's incredible. Folks, that's going to stop. We're going to go reverse it. We're going to bring our jobs back to this country. We can't be the stupid people anymore. Okay? And he was better than a pollster. He's better than a consultant. I'd say, how are we doing? And you get a big report that costs you millions of dollars. Doesn't cost me millions. Me, I give them $10,000, okay? Costs other people millions. Costs other campaigns millions to get a report. Every time they get a report, it's millions. But I'll tell you what, a guy like this is better than anybody you can hire to do a report. And he said it. He didn't say it from the standpoint of He's upset about it. Just fact. How are we doing? Unbelievable in Mexico. In fact, he actually said, I've never, ever seen anything like it. And if you look, Ford is building massive plants there instead of Michigan. We want them to build them in Michigan. They're going to build them in Michigan. And you know that I know how to do that. So easy. So easy. But they're not going to do, and they're not going to take advantage of us without retribution. There are consequences when you fire thousands of people and move to another country and then think you're going to make your product and sell it in here. There are consequences. And those consequences are going to keep companies in our country. It's very simple. And everybody here knows what the consequences are. But I won't say that because I'm much more interested right now in Mike. Indiana's unemployment rate, and this is the primary reason I wanted Mike, other than he looks very good, other than he's got an incredible family, incredible wife and family. Karen is amazing. Incredible family. Highly respected, expected to go for another 4 years. He would have won, I think, very easily in Indiana. Indiana, their unemployment rate has fallen when he was there, when he started, 8.4% when he was governor, when he took over, to less than 5% in May of 2016. Since January 2013, Indiana's labor force has increased by more than 186,000 jobs. You have to understand, I've gone around to all these states. I've gone to all of them. And every time I have statisticians, I say, give me the stats on a state. And it's always bad. Down, down, down. Down 40%, 50%, 60% in some cases. Here's somebody where it's gone up. Private sector job growth is up by more than 147,000 jobs since 2013. That's like very unusual. Governor Pence balanced the budget. Can you imagine a balanced budget? Our budget's so out of whack in this country, we don't know what we're doing. We're going to owe very soon $21 trillion. He balanced the budget. They don't know what that means. Governor Pence balanced the budget, produced a surplus, and maintains a $2 billion reserve fund in the state of Indiana. It's also rated AAA. Their bonds are rated AAA. Very few states have that. AAA. The best. That's as good as you can get. Whether you're a company, a state, AAA. Indiana was recently recognized by Chief Executive Magazine as the #1 state in the Midwest for business. #1. And it's not even close. There are approximately 34,000 fewer Hoosiers on unemployment insurance now than they were when Mike Pence took office. So you have fewer Hoosiers, fewer people from Indiana. Besides that, Bobby Knight, my friend who really did help me. I mean, if you want to reference Bobby Knight in Indiana, we love Bobby Knight. But he agrees with everything I'm saying. He loves the governor. Indiana has the second lowest unemployment rate in the nation for veterans, where nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans. The veterans have been left behind. If you remember a few months ago, Hillary Clinton said, they're doing much better. The VA is much better. They're doing a much better job than people give it credit for. People are dying in line waiting for 5-6 days for doctors. People are dying, they can't even see a doctor. It's a scandal. Take a look at what's happening with the VA in Arizona. Take a look at what's happening with, just the Veterans Administration hospitals. It's a scandal. It's corrupt. It's incompetent. It's a scandal. And Hillary Clinton thought it was just fine. And boy, am I going to win big with the veterans. I mean, we know that for a fact.
Never lacking for confidence.
So it's now 2.4% for veterans. In 2013, when Mike Pence took office, the rate for veterans was 6.7. It was 31st in the nation, one of the bad ones. And now it's almost the best. Got them jobs. Got them jobs. Indianapolis is ranked second in top 10 metro areas for young college graduates. That's a great thing. They're going to stay there. That's a great thing. And Mike worked hard on that. He was telling me that was not easy. Under Governor Pence's leadership, Indiana enacted the largest K-12 education funding increase in the state's history. So you're balancing budgets, and yet you're giving more money to education. Isn't that a great thing?
While we buffer here, Donald Trump is lauding Governor Mike Pence's accomplishments in the state of Indiana during his 3+ years as governor. Boy, Donald doesn't lack for confidence, does he? He just made reference to he's going to win big with the veterans. Now back to Mr. Trump.
Indiana has just about the largest school choice program in America. School choice is where it's at, folks. You want to get your schools better. You've got to get rid of Common Core fast. Governor Pence enacted the largest income tax cut in the state's history. Think of that. We're cutting taxes and balancing budgets. And along with corporate tax reform, just about #1 in the country. CNBC ranked Indiana first in the nation for its infrastructure. So with all of these cuts and all of these balancing budgets, we're spending more money on education, and the infrastructure is kept up. That had so much, look, as a builder, nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I build infrastructure. Do I know how to build a wall? Do I know how to build infrastructure? You know, it's very interesting. We're building, I won which is pretty amazing in the Obama administration, but I won the right to have the old post office building on Pennsylvania Avenue, right near the White House. And it's an amazing, probably the best location, one of the most sought after projects in the history of the GSA, General Services. And I really like what's happened. We're going to have an opening very soon. Ivanka and Eric and Don did a fantastic job on it. But I thought the other day, I was going over the numbers, we're under budget and about a year, actually more than a year. But we're a year ahead of schedule, and we're under budget substantially. And the quality of the work is even better than we originally were going to do. And when I explained to a government representative that we're under budget and ahead of schedule, they almost fell off because they'd never heard those words before. They'd never heard. So when I see what happened to Indiana, which was having tremendous problems, when I see what happened to Indiana under Mike's work, also his predecessor did a great job, by the way, great job. Who's now at Duke? Who's now at Purdue? When I see what happened with respect to the numbers, the state, and everything else, that to me was probably the single most important point, because it's something that hasn't happened, almost has not happened in this whole country. The turnaround and the strength of Indiana has been incredible. And I learned that when I campaigned there. And I learned that when I won that state in a landslide. And I learned that when Governor Pence, under tremendous pressure from establishment people, endorsed somebody else, but it was more of an endorsement for me. If you remember, he talked about Trump, then he talked about Ted, who's a good guy, by the way, who's going to be speaking at the convention. Ted Cruz, good guy. But he talked about Trump, Ted, then he went back to Trump. I said, who did he endorse? So even though he was under pressure, because I'm so, outside of the establishment, it was the single greatest non-endorsement I've ever had in my life, okay? I will tell you. So, with that, I would like to introduce a man who I truly believe will be outstanding in every way and will be the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Mike Pence. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
There's my man, Mike.
On behalf of my family here and looking on, would you join me in thanking Donald Trump, Melania, and his entire family for the sacrifices that they are making to make America great again? And I thank Donald Trump for the confidence you've placed in us. And I accept your invitation to run and serve as Vice President of the United States of America. You know, I come to this moment deeply humbled, but with a grateful heart.
So like mine.
Grateful to God for his amazing grace. Grateful to my wonderful wife, Karen, and our three incredible kids, Michael, Charlotte, and Audrey. And grateful to this builder, this fighter, this patriotic American who has set aside a legendary career in business to build a stronger America, Donald J. Trump. And let me say, having had the privilege to spend time with this man and his family out of the limelight, I know what all of America will soon know even better. These are good people. Donald Trump is a good man, and he will make a great president of the United States of America. Donald Trump understands the frustrations and the hopes of the American people like no leader since Ronald Reagan. The American people are tired. We're tired of being told. We're tired of being told that this is as good as it gets. We're tired of having politicians in both parties in Washington, D.C. tell us we'll get to those problems tomorrow. And as Ronald Reagan said, we're tired of being told that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives better for us than we can plan them for ourselves. Donald Trump gets it, and he understands the American people. I truly am deeply humbled to be at his side today. And when I got this call last Wednesday, I could only think of that ancient question. Who am I, O Lord? And who is my family that you have brought us this far? So let me try and answer that question for a few minutes. Now, people who know me well know I'm a pretty basic guy. I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order.
He's told me that before.
Now, while I currently have the privilege of serving the state that I love, I'm really just a small town boy who grew up in southern Indiana with a big family and a cornfield in the backyard. Like Donald Trump, my grandfather immigrated to this country. And in many ways, I grew up with a front row seat to the American dream. I watched my mom and dad build everything that matters: a family, a business, and a good name. The heroes of my youth were John F. Kennedy and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I actually started in politics in the other party. But when I came of age, I was inspired by the ideals and the eloquence of our 40th president, and I became a Republican. The most important thing in my life was that 31 years ago, I married the girl of my dreams, Karen Pence, who will make a great second lady of the United States of America. And while this office is an extraordinary office to which to aspire, the highest role I will ever play is DAD. And I'm a proud father of a college student, a graduate turned writer, and a United States Marine. You know, my career, I ran for Congress before the Republican Revolution, led by Newt Gingrich in 1994. I wasn't successful, By the time I got elected to Washington, D.C., sometimes I felt like I was elected after it was over. From almost my first day in Congress, I found myself battling the big spenders in both political parties. Whether opposing No Child Left Behind, the prescription entitlement, or the Wall Street bailout, I fought every single day for taxpayers and fiscal responsibility when I was a member of the Congress of the United States. And after the Republicans lost the Congress in 2006, I was actually unanimously elected to serve in leadership. And we fought back against the Nancy Pelosi Congress. We opposed Obamacare. We opposed their tax increases. We opposed their cap and trade. And I was part of the team that won the Congress back from Democrat control in 2010. And all that happened before I went back home again to Indiana. But I want to say I answered this call for two reasons. First, because I know from firsthand experience that strong Republican leadership can bring about real change, just like we've seen in the Hoosier State. And secondly, because Hillary Clinton must never become President of the United States of America.
That's my goal.
Now,
quite the
on the first
ovation
part,
that
I know
got.
what I'm talking about. You know, in Indiana, we prove every day you can build a growing economy on balanced budgets, low taxes, even while making record investments in education, roads, and health care. We like to say Indiana's a state that works, and it does. Indiana works because Republican principles work every time you put them into practice. Today we have a $2 billion surplus and the highest credit rating in the nation. And since I became governor, Hoosier businesses, large and small, have created nearly 150,000 net new jobs. And we have more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the great state of Indiana. That's what Republican leadership gets you. And let me say from my heart, that's what the no-nonsense leadership of Donald J. Trump will bring to Washington, D.C. But elections are about choices. Elections are about choices. And I also joined this ticket because the choice could not be more clear. The stakes could not be higher. Americans can choose a leader who will fight to make America safe and prosperous again and bring real change, or we can elect someone who literally personifies the failed establishment in Washington, D.C. 7.5 years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's policies have weakened America's place in the world and stifled our nation's economy. Terrorist attacks at home and abroad, grim and heartbreaking scenes from France just a few short days ago, the attempted coup in Turkey all attest to a world spinning apart. History teaches us that weakness arouses evil. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's foreign policy of leading from behind, moving red lines, feigning resets with a resurgent Russia and the rise of ISIS is a testament to this truth of history, and we must bring a change to America's stand in the world. We cannot have 4 more years apologizing to our enemies and abandoning our friends. America needs to be strong for the world to be safe. On the world stage, Donald Trump will lead from strength. He will rebuild the arsenal of democracy, stand with our allies, and hunt down and destroy the enemies of our freedom. And at home, the choice is just as clear. Where Donald Trump wants to cut taxes, Hillary Clinton plans to raise taxes on working families, small businesses, and family farms. Where Donald Trump is committed to repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel. Hillary Clinton looks at Obamacare as a good start and wants to take Bernie Sanders' path down to single-payer socialized medicine. Where Donald Trump supports an all-of-the-above strategy and will end the war on coal, Hillary Clinton actually promised an energy plan that would close American coal mines and put coal miners out of work. Where Donald Trump wants to build a wall and temporarily suspend immigration from countries compromised by terrorism, Hillary Clinton plans to ignore the Supreme Court, reimpose executive amnesty, and would increase our refugee program by more than 500%. And where Donald Trump will appoint justices like the late Antonin Scalia, who will uphold our Constitution, Hillary Clinton will appoint Supreme Court justices who will legislate from the bench, abandon the sanctity of life, and rewrite our Second Amendment. To every American who shares our convictions, I say to you, join us. For the sake of our security, for the sake of our prosperity, for the sake of a Supreme Court that will never turn its back on our God-given liberties, let's come together as a party and a people and a movement to make America great again, and that day begins when Donald Trump becomes the 45th President of the United States of America. Thank you for the honor. Thank you for your support, and God bless the United States of America.
There you have it, Governor Mike Pence accepting the offer from Donald Trump. There they are together. I believe that's his wife Karen and his daughter there. There's some of the Trump family. And okay, let's get rid of some of that background music for now and talk about what we just witnessed. Donald Trump lauding Governor Pence's accomplishments in the state of Indiana. Governor Pence coming up, accepting the offer. I think it was probably a hard decision for him in that he was more than likely going to win a second term as governor, and it's his, he's just a good old Indiana boy, and so he reiterated the accomplishments that he is had with the people of Indiana in the last 3.5 years. I think of a couple things. He said that I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and then I'm a Republican. And I can picture him pointing in that order. I've had him say that to me in person, and that's not a new phrase for him by any stretch of the imagination. That wasn't made up for this event. He has used that line many, many times throughout his career, and I got cold chills there at the one point, giving credit to God for his life in general. And throughout the course of this event, he made reference to his Christian beliefs, made reference to some of the social issues that resonate with conservative Christians, talking about Donald Trump appointing Supreme Court justices that would do their job by following the Constitution, referencing the abortion issue, referencing the Second Amendment, and Governor Pence is a champion of those things. I can tell you that. There was the time when Governor Pence was the Washington, D.C. politician for 12 years. It's been kind of reversed a little bit in the last 3.5 to where he was focused on the state of Indiana, but you know that he's always loved America, and now he's back to refocusing on things of Washington, D.C. He is very good at that, as he mentioned in number 3 in the leadership of the House. Pointed out that during that time was when the Republicans retook control of the House of Representatives by a large number, retained that even since he left and went to being the governor of Indiana. It's an exciting time for me. Mike Pence is probably my favorite politician at this moment. Most people know that if they know me, they know that I am a Ronald Reagan fan, and Mike Pence reminds me of him in many, many ways. Maybe not as charismatic and as good in front of the camera as Reagan was, but he definitely has things to say that would make the Gipper proud. There you have a picture, not such a great picture. The live stream is now over, and we're going to conclude our comments, hoping that you enjoyed seeing Mike Pence, the real Mike Pence. And for everyone here at edboston.com, we thank you for being with us. Now go out and do the right thing.